Hi, welcome to Quilt with Marci Baker, where I will share with you the simplest methods that guarantee your quilting success. Today we're going to be doing tumbling blocks, which is also known as baby blocks, and downtown, which is known as inner city. These are two very traditional patterns, and they are both in my book ABC 3D, Tumbling Blocks and More. If you've always wanted to make one of these quilts, it is as easy as ABC. This book is an update from Not Your Grandmother's Tumbling Blocks and Sarah Nephew's Big Book of Building Block Quilts. It has 16 different projects that are very simple. Even a beginner can try Cat's Meow, which is a very large tumbling block, or smaller blocks as tumblers for the table. And in fact, just in our web guide, this is his very first sewing project, which he designed. And here are all 16 projects in the book. With our Clearview triangle rulers, we have 6, 8, 10, 12 inch, and our Super 60, all 60-degree angles. The 10 inch is the one I recommend if you want to buy one ruler. If you already have the 8 inch or the Super 60, you can buy the 12 inch and have a nice complement. It will make these large tumbling blocks of Cat's Meow. However, if you only have a small ruler, we show you in the book how to work through that. What makes these blocks look 3D is the different values, having light, medium, and dark. Having those three distinct values is important. Here we have choosing our light and choosing our dark first, know how wide of the value range you have, and then come back and find the medium. In order to pick values, I have a lot of people that ask for help. This tool here, it's a color wheel, but I call it more of a value tool because it allows me to choose the values that are going to give me light, medium, and dark. Let me show you how that works. So here I've chosen 3 fabrics. And as I place my color wheel over it, you can squint at it and see that this fabric is lighter or somewhere in between these values in the corner. Then we're going to move over to our medium, and you can see that as we squint, it's darker than this section, but lighter than this section, which places this larger print in a value down in here. Then we move over to our dark, and you can see that we've got it darker even than our darkest on our color wheel. So I know that I have a light in this corner, a medium down here, and a dark up in the corner. That's going to make a very good 3D block. Let's start with tumbling blocks. Once you've chosen your light, medium, and dark, let's sew it together, a light with 2 darks, a light with 2 mediums, and we're going to use these strips. Pressing instructions are given in the book, and we're going to cut our angle. For the dark combination, the point will be up. For the medium combination, we'll start with it, the point is down. Then we're going to take and turn this strip so we can do all of our cuts right-handed. And we're going to be turning our ruler around so that it then is lined up. The orange is our cutting edge, and it catches my ruler at my fabric edge. And I can line this up and cut my strip, which looks like the following. And that piece then we will cut in half. Again, we're going to use the ruler. Point is down now. Line it up here. The edge is there, and I should be there. I cut that in half, and I get 2 pieces exactly the same out of that one strip. Now, once you have your first piece cut, check against page 110 to make sure you have the right size. So now that we've checked our block, this is our left half. We're going to be cutting our right halves from the opposite strip set, and that's going to give us our block. Don't sew this together yet, otherwise you'll have a lot of coasters. Instead, we're going to keep them as half blocks, and we'll start laying them out so we get our blocks the way we want. You can do lots of different options there as far as layout. You might try on the diagonal, which is the very first quilt that I made using this technique, or Stairway to Heaven, which is on the diagonal with the mirror image, a very traditional quilt. Or a Thankful Harvest, which is a random layout. And for those of you who would like a real challenge, try your Radiant Beauty, which can be either a wall hanging or a queen-size quilt. Once you have your layout started, then you can continue, and if we wanted to make this look random with just 3 block combinations, which is a really neat design to do, we can start with a pattern of blue, orange, and then brown. And then the row above it is the same thing, but it's shifted over. And after brown is blue again. And then the row above that will be a repeat of this row. And you can see how this is going to look like a random design with just 3 color combinations. We're going to then pick up our pieces once we've decided on our layout, and we'll sew them together in rows. As you start to sew these pieces together, we're going to be flipping this down along here, and we'll need to adjust it so we have the ears sticking out, and those need to fit your seam allowance. The thing that I have found is to trim off these ears ahead of time with my corner cut, which has 3 different sizes of corners that you can trim off, either a scant, a true, or a generous quarter. And you line up both edges of the tool and trim off what's sticking out. And then when I go to sew, things line up exactly and they look like this. So you can either have ears sticking out or no ears at all. It's optional, but I definitely like the speed at the sewing machine. So here I have a strip that I've sewn together, and pressing instructions are given in the book so that all the seams oppose and the points are going to come together very easily. You'll sew strips together in pairs, and then those pairs together, and that's when you'll get your tumbling blocks coming together finally into the entire quilt. The points come together very easily because of the pressing, and also because we have bias. The bias makes the points match very easily all the way down. And I give instructions on how to cut shapes that will fill in the edges. These are not set in. There is a seam through here, just like we have a seam through the top. So everything is sewn in strips. That's how easy the tumbling blocks is. So let's look at downtown or inner city. And with that Y shape, we're going to need to make 4 different combinations here and then 2 wide strips. And we're going to cut the exact same shape. We have a light with 2 mediums, a medium with 2 lights, dark with 2 lights, light with 2 darks, and then a wide of the dark and the medium. And let's look at the shapes that we're going to be cutting from this. So here are the shapes that we cut. These were 4 from the pieced strips, and then these are from the 2 wide strips. And let's see how the Y shape comes together. We're going to turn this one around and match this one up here. We're going to turn this one around and match this one here, and then these 2 shapes go down below. That's the Y shape to make the downtown or the inner city. We're going to be able to lay these pieces out. We would then pick them up and sew them in rows just like we did on tumbling blocks. That's how easy this one is. In the book, we include lots of tips that make it so you can be successful with your tumbling blocks. With value choices, we want you to be confident in what you've chosen. Also, we include rotary cutting basics all the way to the binding. If you've always wanted to make tumbling blocks, this is the way to do it. It's as easy as ABC. Look for ABC 3D, Tumbling Blocks and More at your favorite quilt shop, or visit us online at quiltwithmarcibaker.com. Thank you for joining me at Quilt with Marci Baker, where you learn the simplest methods that can guarantee you success with your projects. Thank you for joining me, and enjoy your quilt.